there, and welcome to Real Reviews. My name is Jameson Rabbit, and the man seated next to me once ate an entire box of packing peanuts just for the heck of it. His name is Mike Roth.
Yeah, and people, in the Wikipedia page, people assume I'm just eating the peanuts. Yeah. No, I ate the box.
Yeah. It's impressive.
Yeah, I was hungry.
Yeah.
And, you know that feeling when you're really thirsty?
Yeah, yeah.
I had the exact opposite.
Gotcha.
So I needed to dry things out a little bit.
I wonder what it's called when you have to eat that. I know pica is like when you eat dirt and such, or hair.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like I have to eat packing peanuts and cardboard.
Well, you know, it depends on what the packing peanuts are. Some of them are corn-based.
Oh, some of them are
not the ones I ate, but some of them are.
Straight styrofoam for this guy. Oh, man. Well, this week we have a couple of movies to discuss on the marquee. I'm going to get us started with the movie that just came out this week starring Reese Witherspoon. It's called Home Again. Home Again from director Hallie Myers-Shire. This is her directorial debut, Michael.
Yeah.
Reese Witherspoon stars as a lady named Alice. She is a recently separated, just turned 40-year-old mother of two who has moved across the country from New York to L.A. with her two young daughters. She is settling into her old family home. We also have three young guys in their 20s, who are trying to secure financing for a movie they're trying to make. And one of them, Harry, played by Pico Alexander, ends up picking up Alice. She's out with some friends. He ends up picking her up. They have a little hookup and wake up at her house. They are dirt poor because they have no way. They have nowhere to live, no way to finance their movie. And luckily, Reese's mother, played by Candice Bergen, takes a shine to these guys and says, why don't we let them stay in this palatial estate that we own?
It was nice seeing Candice again.
It was great. She had some great scenes. Because we find out that Alice's dad was a filmmaker of some note, an Oscar-winning filmmaker. Mm-hmm. So they have a nice house in the Hollywood Hills. So they put these three young guys up in the guest house, and they start to bond. There's moments of bonding with the kids, and there's this constant kind of thing bubbling between Harry and Alice still. But she's 40, and she thinks it's a little weird to be dating a 20-something-year-old guy. There's the obvious pitfalls among that. And then you also have a little bit of jealousy that springs up when you have three guys and one lady living in a house together. Mm-hmm. There's some obvious jealousy. And at some point, Reese's separated husband, played by the great Michael Sheen, he shows up, wants to reunite, wants to get back together, and that causes some drama because the guys have kind of taken to living here and having fun with the daughters and just kind of enjoying a good life. And now this guy is going to come back and want his family back, and he thinks it's weird that his wife and kids have three young guys living with him.
I think,
I think that's a little strange. I don't know why. And basically the entire movie is more or less, can Reese Witherspoon have it all?
Yeah.
That's the gist of the movie is, can she have it all? Can she have the house in the hills, have a job being a designer, have three young guys, basically a built-in babysitter, a boyfriend, an IT specialist?
Really, her conflicts are she could only, and they tell you this blatantly in the movie, is she doesn't know how to let loose on any day except for her birthday.
Yeah, right, exactly.
And she doesn't have to ever work, but she likes to pick up hobbies every once in a while and see if it goes, and if it doesn't, well, just try the next hobby.
I mean, this is the height of first world problems.
Yes.
Where, one of the big issues is she just hasn't had time to take her dad's things into the Institute of Motion Picture Science. And also, at one point you see them eating some cold lasagna. That was rough.
Well, they got pretty hammered on shock top beers.
Yeah,
so,
I saw that. That was marketing there. They focused in on that.
Hangovers are terrible.
Yeah. So it's interesting because the director, Hallie Myers-Shire, her mom is Nancy Myers, who is like a hugely noted Hollywood writer, Academy Award-winning Hollywood writer, who writes every rom-com that has ever been seen, basically. She is like the rom-com writer. And so it feels like she tried to really follow in her mom's footsteps, and it felt like she tried to just kind of take an outline of a good rom-com and be like, I can plug pieces into it.
Yeah.
And it lacked quite a bit of heart to me. I liked some of the characters. I liked the character of George, who was the actual filmmaker guy, played by SNL's John Rodninsky. I liked him. I liked George quite a bit. I thought he was a fun character. But the character of Harry, who is like the love interest and the pretty boy, spent the majority of the movie just kind of going, hey, Alice, can we talk? Hey, can you come out here so we can have a talk? And it got really old.
Yeah, and everything that he said sounded like he rehearsed it over and over and over. So everything
was
sounded very wooden.
Yeah.
I mean, they had emotion, but obviously fake acting.
And he's just so needy. Just such a needy guy. Now, the girls in the movie, I actually really enjoyed. I thought they were really cute. The daughter, Isabel, played by Lola Flannery, I thought she was a lot of fun. I enjoyed them. I enjoyed the moments between Reese and her daughters. I thought those were a lot of fun.
And that was another part of the Charmed Life movie, is everybody got along. These guys that moved in, they got along great with the kids.
Sure.
They took them to school. They had movie
bonded
night.
with 'em.
Everything was awesome for such a long time in this movie.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, ultimately, what did you think of Home Again?
Really, I got extremely bored. About majority of this movie, like you said, is about Reese Witherspoon's charmed life, and you really get disconnected. I can't really get into the characters at all if there's no conflict, if they're not fleshed out like a real human being that I might know. I mean, yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of extremely wealthy people who inherited money and they're able to have yoga classes in their back lawn and shack up 3 guys in their house, but all the situations was so perfect for so long. I needed something. I needed some meat to the movie. The humor, they tried attempting some things, but it sounded like all bad.
Well, and they brought conflict towards the end of the movie, but it was too little too late for me with Michael Sheen's character coming in.
You go a good hour into the movie without any problems at all.
Yeah.
It was just like reading a Christmas list of some rich kid after, the holidays. Oh, and I got a pony, and I got a VCR.
My dad's made all these amazing movies. Now, I really enjoyed seeing Candice Bergen again. I thought she was a lot of fun. I thought she had some great moments. Here's my problem. I love Reese Witherspoon. I love her good movies. I love her bad movies. I've grown up with her since the days of Man on the Moon and Freeway, all the way up through her Oscar-winning roles into her bad rom-coms.
I still watch Pleasantville quite frequently.
Yeah, she's great. And in this movie, she's purposely trying to play old. Like she's like, I'm an old 40 basically, and I'm 40, so I guess life is just about over. That's kind of the character she plays. She's still cute as ever to me. Yeah. So
she doesn't
I forgive
really look
a lot of
her
sins.
age.
yeah, exactly. We all look like her at 40. So the movie is, for me, there's good, there's bad. Ultimately, I end up giving it 2.5 stars.
Yeah?
Yeah, right down the middle.
It
was okay.
My score is a little bit worse.
Yeah?
A lot bit worse. I gave it a 1. I really thought this movie was kind of boring. It needed a little bit more diversity or conflict or anything real to me, but it just felt so...
Gave you none of those, huh?
Yeah.
Big miss for Mike. And a big meh for me.
So run out to your local theater right away.
What else do we have on the marquee this week? I see there's a movie that's been breaking records this week.
Yes, which, by the way, Home Again did not.
Did not break records.
No, they pulled in 8.6. It took 10 to make this movie.
They're hoping to break even?
Where, unlike the other movie I'm talking about, made $123 million on the weekend. We're talking about Stephen King's It. Of course, we've all watched It back in 1990, but they were rehashing it 27 years later. Coincidentally, that's the time the clown comes out.
Every 27 years.
So this movie concentrates on pretty much the first half of Stephen King's book. These kids are all young teens in Derry, just trying to make their days go by. They're kind of part of a losers club, but every 27 years, a sinister, demonic evil comes up and pretty much snatches children's souls. And of course, in any horror movie, you can't just capture a soul when they're happy, you have to scare the hell out of them first, and then the soul is so much sweeter.
Yeah, so much tastier when it's fear-based.
And these kids are finally kind of piecing these together, where every 26 years or 27 years, Derry has a terrible incident, a tragedy, and it's happening again. All these kids are becoming missing. People are dying. So as they're figuring it out, Pennywise is also trying to scare the bejesus out of them so that he could steal their souls. And basically that is this movie. They already told everybody that, you know, with their success, they are going to make the sequel, which would be the adult part.
Right.
People who are familiar with the miniseries back in the 90s might be disappointed that it's not the same kind of timeline.
Were they remembering back on their childhoods and such?
And you get to know the adults and the children at the same time, where this movie, I think they were setting it up just in case it didn't do well.
And it's pretty good because you saw what happened with Dark Tower this year, another Stephen King franchise, which tanked at the box office. It will not be getting a sequel.
But with that movie, you had 6 books.
Right, but you also had a built-in fan base. And so they hedged their bets on this, and it's smart because this had been kind of up and down. We had a previous director, previous cast, previous Pennywise. Cary Fukunaga was... He'd written up this whole treatment, the whole script, and it had set Hollywood on fire like 4 or 5 years ago.
He wrote that script for 4 years.
Right.
Yeah.
And he had Will Poulter as Pennywise, and everyone was fired up because he does some pretty incredible movie making. And through creative differences, he fell by the wayside. We bring in Andy Muschietti, and he gets his vision.
Which he did a good job with Mama, and that's a pretty solid horror film. I did not like how he put Mama in this movie. I thought that was a little cheesy. But besides that, I thought he did a fantastic job.
There were a couple of little cheesy things in here. One of my knocks on this movie is there's just one too many New Kids on the Blocks references. There's like 3 or 4 of them in the movie. I could have done with one less.
Well, one of the big changes, and this was a change that Cary also did, was instead of putting it back in the 1950s, we're going to bring the kids up to the
1989. That's one of the things I love about this movie because 1989, I was the same age as these kids. I was a middle school age kid in 1989.
Really, I did not get the feeling of 89 with this.
I did.
They had a lot of shirts and stuff like that in the cars. But
I felt the 89. I mean, little things. You walk by a movie theater, it says Batman. And then a few weeks later, they walk by a theater and it says Lethal Weapon 2. Nightmare on Elm Street 5. I'm going, yes, I remember that summer very well.
That was really cool.
I mean, so, I was 12 when in 1989. For me, there's nothing I love more. There's not a better nostalgic feeling for me than a group of kids riding bikes around town, going on their own little adventure. That's great nostalgic just juju for me.
With my problem, and really this is a personal problem, I'm comparing all children's 80 movies to Stranger Things now. and that one really hits it home.
And that's one of the great things about this movie is we get one of the stars of Stranger Things in
do.
here. Finn Wolfhard comes in as Richie in this movie, playing a completely different character than he does in Stranger Things, where he's the sweet kid who's trying to find his brother. In this one, total jerk. Richie is the jerk.
And truthfully, I liked Richie a lot better in this one than I did the miniseries. And I'm not knocking the miniseries. I love the miniseries. But a lot of the characters were a definite upgrade in this.
I agree. I think it was a great kid cast. Really great. The only drawback I had was since you moved it from 58 to 89, that it kind of lessens the impact of, is it Ben? Mike, who's the African-American kid. You lose that impact because it's not 1958 in a racist place, whereas now it focuses more on the fat kid, more on Ben, is kind of the one who was tortured a lot. That was the one thing that really felt different to me because of the time change.
And I think they might have been aware of that because Mike's character was actually way in the background.
Yeah, he was dialed way back in this.
And he is a very important character. He's actually the guy who gets everybody together in your sequel
in the adult
film.
version.
So, I was hoping they would do more with Mike, but they really kind of left it back. They brought him in late,
Beverly kind of really took the starring role in this movie.
Yeah,
and I thought she was great. Sophia Lillis as Beverly, I thought she was awesome.
Yeah, she did fantastic.
But really, you have to talk about Pennywise.
Yes.
And it's tough to compare any Pennywise up against what Tim Curry did in that 1990 series. It's pretty great what he did.
Yeah, Tim Curry is fantastic.
Getting Bill Skarsgård in here, and kind of allowing him to take his take. It didn't feel like he was trying to mimic Tim Curry. It felt like he wanted to do something of his own, which is a good idea.
Yeah.
How did you think that worked out?
I think they relied a little bit too much on CG to make him scary, and I believe he did go a little over the top. Now, Tim Curry, he was over the top, but he was bold. It was really. I'm sorry, but I'm again comparing.
Yeah, you have
to. Tim Curry was fantastic. He did a good job. He was scary, but you could tell he was trying too hard to be scary. Instead of just letting his own personality just be bold and draw things in, he was doing more of the creepy voice and the,
Yeah.
But I think he did a fantastic job, just not Tim Curry fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, that is a high bar to clear.
Yeah.
I really like Bill Skarsgård. I would still say Tim Curry did the better job, but I love this movie, and I love this Pennywise and how he appears to each of these kids. And the way that Skarsgård was able to make his eyes off-center in real life, it's like, no, I can do that. I can look in two directions. So you have, even in the scenes where they stumble into this room full of clown toys.
Yeah.
The clown's eyes are off center and there. I was like, oh, this is creepy. Yep.
And that's another thing I want to talk about in the movie also is there is a lot of creepy factor in here. Yeah, you have Pennywise, who of course is the main focus, but you have things happening in the background. I watch a lot of horror movies. I don't get creeped out very often. I vocally did one of these, in the movie. It was during the library scene.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
There's some good scares in here.
Yeah, there is.
And then having to deal with the bully as well.
Yeah.
I mean, the bully's a pretty terrifying force in this movie as well, And it's just, I thought it was pretty great, and how they're able to really build up how Pennywise creates and feeds off of these fears of the kids.
And that's another thing that they also changed in the book. Henry Bowers, he is the main bully. You really have a lot of things going wrong for these kids. I mean, it's their social lives, their home lives, the dynamic clown. I mean, really, it's terrible.
It's rough.
But Henry Bowers is also another huge character that he comes out in the second one, but they messed with the book a little bit, or the story a little bit, so that they could actually end Henry's story if they wanted to.
Yeah.
And I think it would be cheesy if he comes back.
I agree. One of the things I love about this movie, and it is just how like I said, I love these movies, kids going on an adventure. Stand By Me, Goonies, Explorers, any of these things. I'm a sucker for these. That's why I love Stranger Things so much. I think a lot of people have been built to love these things. I love just the wisecracking. I love the stupid insults, the adolescent humor of teenage prepubescent boys. Oh man, it's horrible it's horrible, and it's cringeworthy to listen to sometimes, but we've all been there.
I totally laughed out loud when they're at the rock quarry and they're all doing the spitting contest in their underwear. It's like,
and you always have the one kid who is trying to convince everyone else that he's done way more than the rest of you. You're like, okay, nerd, we're all losers here. I mean, this movie for me, I went in with high expectations for this movie, and it met my expectations, which is tough.
Yeah.
This is tough. I'm kind of curious how you compare this, because I know we both have rewatched the miniseries recently.
Yeah, a couple times.
It's natural. We've kind of been talking about it as we've been going. How do you think it stacks up against the miniseries, knowing that this is only half of that?
It's really tough to compare it, because one of the great things about the miniseries is also the timeline, which they can't really do. It's kind of like making Pulp Fiction. If you did it in chronological order, it just wouldn't work as well as how they made it. Now, this being in mind, they're not sure if at the time, they were going to make the sequel, so they wanted to make a solid beginning movie, and that's what I have. I love the miniseries. I love this movie, but they are night and day to me. Absolutely. They really are.
Yeah. I love this movie, man. I mean, look, I'm a big sucker for clowns.
Yeah.
Mike, I don't know if you remember. But
I know.
Around a year ago this time, I came in, did a show. I think we got a picture here. There he is. Look at that guy. There's nothing like a happy clown, Mike. Look at you. You're not happy. You just came out of treatment from something.
Yeah, kidney stones.
Yeah.
Yeah, look how happy I am.
Look at you. Just didn't even show up in a costume. Just showed up on set, straight from the hospital. I'm a sucker for clowns, man.
Well, I knew this because I picked you up clown pictures for your wall.
Hangs on the wall to this day.
Watercolor.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What do you end up giving this version of It?
I gave it a 4. It would have went a little higher if I believe they knew that there was going to be a sequel, and therefore they could incorporate some of their ideas in this one to set up 2 a little bit better. But as a standalone movie, if this ended right here, I'm happy with what I had.
Yeah, I think for me that of all the Stephen King horror movies, I think this is the best of them. I mean, he's had other movies that weren't necessarily horror, Shawshank, Stand By Me, things like that.
Yeah.
That I think are better. But as far as his horror movies, it's a hit and miss track record for me, and I think this is my favorite.
There's a lot of misses on
Yeah, there's a lot of misses.
Yeah.
People tend to forget that. And I know people say The Shining is great. I have issues with The Shining. But I give this movie 4.5 stars. I think it's pretty tremendous.
I've had people ask me if Stephen King directed this. I said, no. Watch Maximum Overdrive.
Yeah, we talked about this recently. He hates directing because he failed big time with that one. So what we're saying, though, is if you haven't, go see it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's scary. It's great, fun scares.
If it's going to scar you, though, if you really
don't bring
hate
your kids.
clowns,
It earns its R rating. I know people that have brought their grade school kids.
Yeah.
It earns its R rating
Yeah.
in both language and in scares.
I think it actually could have been a little edgier.
Well, and that's what Fukunawa's version was.
Yeah.
Was a little edgier, and they kind of backed off.
They backed off, and they threw in a lot more scares and less of the really bad things that happen.
I'm
in
excited.
The book.
I'm excited for part 2, though.
I
and
am.
The adult cast has already been talking. The girl who plays Beverly has already said, "I want Jessica Chastain to play me." That's shooting high right there.
I think it would have been really cool if you got all the kids from the original miniseries.
That's what they talked about, but
that didn't turn out well.
There's some problems.
Yeah, there is some
We're
problems.
missing Bill. All right, let's take a look back. We're talking about clown movies. There's been a lot of clown movies. Most of them have been pretty terrible.
Yeah.
But there's one to me that stands out, and I think to you as well. 1991, written, directed, starring Bobcat Goldthwait. We've got ourselves Shakes the Clown. Shakes the Clown is he's a drunk clown who is he wants to get the new clown show job, the pseudo Bozo the Clown Show. Doesn't work out. This movie is filled with just a crazy cast. Weird. You see Florence Henderson in this movie?
Yeah.
I mean, a very young Adam Sandler.
Kathy Griffin.
A very young Kathy Griffin. You have Blake Clark. You have Tom Kenny, the voice of SpongeBob, as Binky the Clown.
That was crazy.
He's really great in this as the. He's kind of this awkward clown who isn't really funny. Everyone hates him, but he gets the job.
He's scarier than the Joker from Batman.
Yeah, he is. You also have Robin Williams showing up as a mime.
Yeah.
Just Milton Berle.
Nope.
Milton Berle in this? No.
No.
Why?
I listened to the commentary, and Bobcat says everybody thinks Milton Berle is in this movie.
He's not at the bar?
He's not at the bar. That's his buddy.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I like that. I like finding that out. Speaking of the bar, that's my favorite thing about this movie is that there is a clown bar that all the clowns hang out at after hours and
there's
get
a
hammered.
clown hierarchy, too.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody beats on the mimes.
Everyone hates mimes.
And then you have your party clowns, and then the rodeo
clowns are the real tough guys. Nobody wants to mess with the rodeo clown.
No.
Binky has clown, flunky henchmen. Like his yes men. There's so much greatness. Julie Brown in this movie is great.
I miss Judy Brown.
Yeah,
I
she's
really
great.
do.
She's great.
And just listening to commentary, Bobcat, he does nothing but directing right now. And he's like, I made this because no one would hire me as an actor anymore. And it turned out really fantastic. I think it holds up better today than it did back then.
Oh my God, this movie is utterly rewatchable.
Yeah.
So rewatchable. I mean, I had watched this movie several times back in the day. But it had been a while since I saw it.
Yeah.
And we decided to do it for our throwback. And I was excited because it's been a while. And it's just as great. I was laughing. It's the ridiculousness of it, the clown fights. Bobcat's great in this movie.
You got to listen to that commentary.
I look forward to it. This is on
laughing.
the new Blu-ray that was just released.
It just released this year, so everything is current. When they're talking about Kathy Griffin, they're also talking about all the political stuff that she's been in, and it's like, oh my gosh, you guys.
I love Shakes the Clown. It's one that I think slipped under the radar at the time. Bobcat coming off of doing some really bad Police Academy movies at the end there.
Well, the critics ripped it up, so that didn't really help. There was one guy in Florida that gave it a good review, and he died soon after that.
Sounds mysterious to me. Yeah, I mean, it's great. If you haven't seen Shakes the Clown, there's a new Blu-ray out. Go get it. it ain't going to set you back that much. It's a lot of fun.
And watch it twice. Watch the commentary. Really, I was busting a gut. It was funny.
Heck yeah. Young Adam Sandler.
Yeah, real young.
Real young,
Like,
yeah. Scrawny.
Scrawny.
He's about 17 years old in this movie.
And he made a really good friend that he put in every single one
Blake
of his
Clark.
movies.
You
Yeah,
see
right
it
after
every
that.
Sandler movie after that.
That's where they met, was Shakes the Clown.
We're doing great things. All right, let's take a look ahead real quick at what's going to be coming out the weekend of September 22nd. We have a few movies that will be on the marquee that weekend. The first one is a new horror movie. I was going to say bad horror movie, but I don't know. I'll give it a fair shake. Friend Request. We got another social media horror movie, Mike.
Out of the horror movies that are upcoming, that is at the bottom of my list right now.
That's not saying much because there's a lot of bad horror movies.
Well,
this looks maybe as good as the Skype horror movie last year, 2 years ago.
Oh, that
Remember
was
that
terrible.
one?
Yeah, Unfriended.
Just watching a Skype call.
Yeah,
that was great.
Happy Death Day actually looks pretty good. It's coming up. Terrible name though, but
absolutely.
I learned a lesson with Baby Driver.
The next movie we have is a movie that I've been looking forward to so much. This is The Kingsman 2: The Golden Circle.
Yeah,
I love the first Kingsman movie, and this one I hope holds up equally as good.
That was in my top 5 that year.
Yeah, it was a great movie. It was a great surprise movie too.
Oh yeah.
Comes out in like February, March, I want to say. It was early in the year.
Yeah, it was February.
And they're like, whoa, this is great.
Yeah. All the movies right now are supposed to be bad. What's going on?
Yeah. So I'm hoping, this has a lot of build up to it. It's moved into a different time slot basically, but I'm hoping it's as good.
Same director?
Same director, I believe.
All right, sweet.
Yeah, excited for that. The third movie we have is the new kids movie on the marquee. We have the Lego Ninjago movie.
And all those have been really cool.
They really have. My kids are pumped for Ninjago. So that's coming out. And then in a smaller release, we have the new movie starring Steve Carell, Battle of the Sexes, based off the true story of Bobby Riggs and Billie Jean King playing that great tennis match in the 1970s. You also have Emma Stone, Academy Award winner Emma Stone as Billie Jean King. The movie looks interesting to me. I believe it's an A24 production.
If you watch it and you bring it, I will wear my John McEnroe headband.
My goodness.
Yep.
I like this. I like this a lot. So those are the movies we're going to be talking about. They'll be coming out September 22nd. Before we leave you, we have to thank our sponsor, The Palace. Here from beautiful Marcus Theaters, we thank you for sponsoring the show. We love going to see some movies. I am excited to see these movies at the Palace. Tonight, I'm going to see a movie.
You going to
we
get
get
some
out of here,
fried
I
pickles?
rip this microphone off, I see a movie at the beautiful Palace.
You going to get some fried pickles?
Fried pickles are delicious.
Oh, yeah.
I get fried pickles everywhere I go.
Yeah?
Whether they have them or not.
I think Marcus
I bring pickles
excels.
with, I say, fry these up for me. I say, sir, we're not a restaurant. I say, plug in my fry daddy.
Yes.
I want pickles.
We're just changing your oil. So.
So thank you again, Marcus, for sponsoring Real Reviews. If you want to find more from us, you can always find us on Facebook. You can find us on Twitter. You can find Mike just kind of hanging out, waving at people. Look for us at Real Reviews TV on those platforms.
Yeah. Swing by the Parched Eagle on Sundays and
Oh,
Tuesdays.
that's a free plug.
There's a free plug, but that's where I'm at
boy.
on Sundays and Tuesdays.
Michael talk movies with you anytime.
Yeah, and serve beer.
Yeah, that's right. I like that. That's a good
time.
combo right there. But until next week, we're going to be talking about American Assassin. We're also going to be talking about Mother! Exclamation point.
I am looking forward to. I love the trailers for this. It's so retro trailers.
For Mother?
You will be so scared.
I like that I don't know a lot about it.
I've
kind of really don't know what's happening. I like that a lot.
That last trailer was very pulp 70s style. You will be scarred for life.
Well, I'm going to go see it the minute we say goodbye. That's what I'm doing. So, I can't wait to go. Let's go right now. Until next week, my name is Jameson.
I'm Mike Roth.
Thanks for watching.